Welcome back to the Health Rebels podcast. Hey, out on a walk today, and today I want to start this podcast off with a question. I want to start off with a question, and that question is, what is the funniest movie you've ever seen? Right, and up until this weekend, my answer to that would have probably been Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's a classic movie. Everybody loves the movie. It's hilarious. It's something that me and my niece watch together quite often, and we love the humor there. And one of my favorite scenes from that movie, from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, is the scene during the Black Plague, during the Black Death, when they come out and they're collecting, unfortunately, the dead bodies, and the guy's walking around, bring out your dead, bring out your dead. And someone carries this guy on his shoulder, and he's like, I got one for you. And the guy on the shoulder shouts out, but I'm not dead. And the guy carrying him was like, yes, you were, shut up, yes, you are. And so what they do is they do this back and forth between, I'm getting better. No, you're not. Oh, the wind's messing up my hair. If you're watching the video, I apologize for that. It's a little wild today. If you're just on the audio, that might have been a weird little side tangent. But anyway, there's this back and forth in the movie about whether the guy's actually dying or not. And the guy is trying to convince the person that he's doing fine. And I find this to be pretty true for personal training as well. Unfortunately, I see a lot of personal trainers telling their clients, you're not getting better. I feel better. No, you're not. What we oftentimes do is we've been taught as personal trainers to do a lot of assessments, to do a lot of intakes, to do a lot of screens, and to diagnose and to tell people what their deficiencies are, right? If you've ever worked with a personal trainer, you might have heard people say, oh, you got really tight hamstrings. Oh, you got really weak glute muscles. Someone might have said you got a tight psoas, something like that. Going through some screens, trying to diagnose what the problem is with you, and then trying to fix that problem, right? Even though you might be saying, I'm not that bad, they're like, oh, you're really bad. What this does is this creates something called the nocebo effect. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the nocebo effect. You're probably more familiar with the placebo effect, right? That placebo effect being the when we take a fake medicine, but we expect good results to come from it. Good results come from it, even though nothing should happen. The opposite is true with the nocebo effect. When we expect bad things to come out, we end up getting negative outcomes, whether or not we deserve to have them or not, right? And personal training, unfortunately, does this with people. A lot of people come in, get a lot of screenings. They get a list of all the things, all the dysfunctions, all the movement dysfunctions, all the movement disorders, and all the weaknesses and muscle imbalances and blah, blah, blah. And they get a list of things that are wrong with them, things that are broken with them. And what ends up happening for the client? That nocebo effect comes in, and they feel like they're broken. They feel like something's wrong with them, and they never get better from that moment. Unfortunately, personal trainers are accidentally hurting their clients with these screens, with these movement assessments, with these unnecessary diagnoses. When people come in looking to be better, when people are coming in looking to feel better, have more energy, have more confidence, instead of focusing on that, oftentimes we label them as movement dysfunctions, and we label all these things that need to be corrected, and we create this belly of negativity around people. With the nocebo effect, what ends up happening is people get stuck, right? A lot of people come in with goals of trying to be better, and instead we put a bunch of labels on them that hold them back. So my encouragement to you is, when you start a health and fitness journey, when you start an exercise journey, when you start a workout plan, I want you to be very cautious about the labels that you put on yourself. Are you accidentally creating a nocebo effect around yourself? What I want you to do instead, oftentimes fitness is about being less, right? It's about taking something away. It's about losing weight. It's about fixing imbalances. It's about doing all this wacky stuff. It always comes from the spot of negativity. It creates this like you need to be saved, need to be fixed. That's not necessarily true. What we do want to do is we do want to try to continue to grow, continue to improve, continue to get 2% better. But we want to look forward at the positive frames. We want to look, if anything, we want to look more towards the placebo effect rather than the nocebo effect. We want to look at all the things that you're gaining, all the improvements that you're making. We want to always put a spin on how much more energy you have, how much more capability you have, how much more daily function you feel, right? We want to always be looking for the ways that we're getting better. We want to seek out what we're doing to get better. We don't want to get stuck with the nocebo effect, looking at all the things about us that are wrong and need to be fixed, right? That simple little shift away can actually help people get a lot better results. And I've seen this in my career as 13 years as a personal trainer. A lot of clients would oftentimes get stuck because we unfortunately put them through some really, really heavy nocebo effect, right? So we would come in, we'd give some diagnoses, we'd give some movement screens, we'd give some muscle imbalance like prescriptions and stuff, and it just makes people feel like they're broken. And I get this a lot of times with people that have worked with personal trainers that come to me for the first time with me, and they tell me all the things that are wrong with them, all the things that they need to work on, all the things that's holding them back, and they're always stuck with that belief, right? So when you go on your fitness journey, what I want you to do is I want you to always look at what you're gaining, looking to the future, looking to the positives, and moving in that direction rather than looking backwards at what's holding you back. Right? Look at where you're going, look at where you're propelling yourself, look at that excitement, and live in that zone instead of always thinking about all the things that are wrong with you, right? We want to be more placebo, we don't want to be in the nocebo effect, and we want to guard against that, right? We don't want someone to accidentally cart us out when we're not actually dying yet, right? So that's what I got for you today. If this was helpful, I would encourage you to share this. Let me know down in the comments or wherever, you can send me a message. Let me know, have you ever heard of the nocebo effect before? And have you ever been guilty of putting a label and getting stuck with that label in a nocebo effect for yourself? Awesome, everybody. That's what I got for you today. Enjoy. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the Health Rebels podcast, and I will see you again next week for another episode. Everybody have a great week and stay healthy.